Hey there, CrossFit Queen Creek, Coach Rob. What's going on? Before we get into the workout for Tuesday, I want to take a minute and I want to throw out some Wodify kudos for everybody that chipped in that did the workout for Monday. So if you did the Monday workout and didn't log into Wodify, you certainly should, because man, that was a leg burner, huh? So running for 2-minute time duration, for a total of 20 minutes, but stopping every 2 minutes and doing 20 air squats and 20 jumping lunges. Holy smokes, I was on fire. My legs were absolutely done. But let's talk about some of the huge wins in Wodify on this. Coach Christina coming in 2,600 meters. Holy smokes, just absolutely crushing it. Lindsay, 24:13 on the meters. Andrea, still got it. I'm curious, were you wearing your vest when you did this? 1931 meters. Charlene, kudos, 1,500 meters, that's awesome. Adrian, you forgot to put your meters in, but I know you crushed it. I know you did really good. And then Ed, my legs are wobbly. I follow. I hear you on that one. My legs were wobbly too. They were on fire. Richard, 3,073 meters. Oh my gosh, that translates out to 1.95 miles. And Jack, wow, 4,086 meters. I did the math on that. That's 2.5 miles, stopping every 2 minutes to do 20 air squats and 20 jumping lunges. Hats off to you, man. That is impressive. Wow. Okay, so let's get into tomorrow's workout, or today's workout since you're watching this, because we're going for Tuesday, the 14th of April, and we'll go into some stuff. Let me switch my screens up here real quick. We're going to change the date. We'll go into tomorrow's workout, and we got another cooker for you. This is a fun one. Okay, so let's head on over to the whiteboard and let's talk about this for a second, okay? There wasn't a warm-up written for this, so you can get with your coaches. My team, I went ahead and I wrote a warm-up, and I'd like you to do this because this is a full-body cooker. So let's talk about the warm-up. We're gonna go for 2 rounds on this. We're gonna start with just 10 squats. We want them to be nice, good, deep squats. Get that hip crease below parallel, right? Hip crease below the knees. Then we're gonna do 10 push-ups. I want these quality push-ups all the way to the ground, all the way up. Full extension when we're pushing all the way up, guys. And then we're gonna roll over onto our back and we're gonna do 10 sit-ups, okay? Let's do these nice and strict. Let's make sure that we're getting those shoulders past that vertical line, past the hips. And then we're gonna do 10 single leg deadlifts. 10 on the right and 10 on the left. We've done them before, but we'll go over them here momentarily. And then good old fashioned burpees. Who doesn't love burpees, right? We're gonna do 10 burpees. So run through this twice. Get the body nice and warm before we jump into the actual workout. Now the movements that we're gonna be seeing today go as such. Some of the movements that we have scaling options for is going to be the dumbbell overhead lunge, all right? Equipment is going to be needed for that. You're going to need a dumbbell, a kettlebell, or some kind of weighted pack. Anything that you can hold single-handed up above your head with your arm at full lockout is what we're looking for. So it could be even something like I said, a weighted pack or a sack full of anything that's got enough weight that you can just support it in one hand with your arm locked out. Then we're going to do some dumbbell power cleans. So dumbbells, kettlebells. If you got a barbell, you can use it. It's a dumbbell workout, but hey, we're working with what we got because we're working at home, right? And I've also got a wall ball written here. If you got a wall ball, you can use wall ball for these cleans, right? Scaling options. I'm sorry, let me back up a little bit. For the overhead lunges, the scaling options, we can reduce weight, we can reduce reps, or if we're to the point where maybe we got a little bit of shoulder injuries and we're rehabbing from that, let's just go ahead and do our lunges with our arms or arm raised up overhead. Let's get into the motion. Let's get used to that, getting in that position itself. If weight is too much to bear, let's just get the arm up there and let's do that lunge with the arm locked out overhead. With the dumbbell power cleans, we can reduce weight and we can use a wall ball for those cleans is a great way to scale those. And then we have goblet squats where we're holding the weight in the center. So if we have a kettlebell or a dumbbell, we're going to support it this way. If we're using a plate, we can support it that way, a weighted pack, a sandbag, anything like that. We can even Well, barbell doesn't really work in that aspect. For here, you would be in a front rack position with a barbell, but use what you can. Again, you can reduce weight and you can use a wall ball for those cleans. Goblet squats, same thing. If we're gonna scale those, we can even just go down into just a regular squat at that point, reducing weight. So some tips and some goals for this particular workout. We're doing a ladder here, guys. Okay, so let's talk about the workout a little bit. Let's come on over here. Let's take a look at the workout. We're gonna start out with 10 single arm dumbbell overhead lunges. 10 on the right side, 10 on the left side. So what that means is we're gonna take this dumbbell, right? And we're gonna take it and we're gonna put it up in the overhead position, and we're gonna make sure that we lock that arm out. We wanna make sure that the bicep is close to the ear, so that way when we come down into our lunge, we wanna make sure that we've got that 90-degree bend in the knee is over the ankle, we got the 90-degree bend in the hip, but most importantly, we wanna lock out that arm straight up so the bicep is next to the ear. That way, our arm is not out here like this. If we have our arm out to the side, like this, that's gonna get very heavy very fast. If we have this weight up top and we lock our arm out, we're using our frame to support the weight rather than actually holding the weight. So, the first 10 lunges are gonna be in place. When you're coming up out of those lunges, drive from the heel. Okay, now we're gonna switch arms. So just up overhead, bicep to the ear, lock out. Back and forth, just like that, okay? Then we're gonna move into a dumbbell push press. So you're going to need 2 dumbbells for this, or kettlebells, or whatever we're using as a weight. With the push press, we're gonna take these dumbbells up into the front rack position. Elbows nice and high. You can rest the weights on your shoulders. A push press means that we get to use a little bit of dip drive. So our feet are underneath the hips. The knees are gonna track out. We're gonna come down. It's a vertical movement. As we push up, we're gonna use that drive and we're gonna punch the ceiling and lock those arms out and then bring those back down. So dip, drive, dip, drive. There's your push presses. We're gonna go through 20 of those. We're gonna go 30 dumbbell power cleans. So since it's a power clean and we're using dumbbells, we've got the 2 of them. We're gonna come down to the floor. We're gonna touch dumbbells to the floor. We're gonna come up like a deadlift. We're gonna get nice and tall, shrug those shoulders, and then get small and catch and rise. So we're down, up. We're gonna go through 30 of those. Then we're gonna go into, let's see, it says dumbbell sit-ups. So it's a weighted sit-up, guys. So come down to the floor. With the weighted sit-ups, one of the most important things is we wanna keep the weight high on our chest. So what I do is I cross my arms this way. That way when I come down, I keep the weight high on my chest, and when I come up, it's still high on my chest. We don't want to take and move the weights like this, because then we're using the weight as a pendulum and it's pulling us forward. The idea of a weighted sit-up is resistance. So we're holding it on the chest. We come down to the floor, shoulders touch the ground, then we come back up and those shoulders pass that vertical plane going past the hips. Then we're gonna go into goblet squats. 50. So you got the progression, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now we're going into goblet squats. So we're gonna hold that to our chest just like this. We're gonna squeeze. We're gonna come down into a full squat. Make sure that you're dropping down so that the hip crease is below the knee, and then drive right back up. We're gonna go through that 50 repetitions. That is the apex of our ladder. Now we're gonna start working our way back down. So once we're done with the 50 goblet squats, then we go back into the sit-ups at 40, and then 30, and then 20, and then once we get back into the lunges, we're actually doing walking overhead lunges. So that weight is up overhead, our arms locked out, bicep next to the ear, and now we're actually gonna walk them out. 10, and then 10 back with the reverse arm, or however much space you have to work with it. Doesn't really matter. Let's talk about a couple of tips and tricks for this stuff. Okay guys, let's talk about a couple of tips and tricks for this workout. This is a long workout with a lot of reps. Everything is completely weighted and we're using dumbbells for it. So what we wanna do is we wanna pace ourselves for the long haul. Let's talk about picking the proper weight, okay? Our selection might be limited, but if we do have some options and we're picking a weight, I'm gonna suggest picking a weight that is going to be a bit of a challenge in the push press, okay? Let's think about our movements here that we have for a second. The first movement that we were doing was a walking overhead lunge. We're supporting the weight with our frame. We're not moving it too much, so it's more in the legs, and that's a large muscle group, we're okay. Then we get into the push presses, where we're getting a little drive and we're pushing, okay? But we're using our shoulders to push that weight. Then we go into the cleans, so we got a lot of body momentum going on and getting those cleans going on, so we're pretty okay there. Once we move into the sit-ups, we're using our whole entire core, and it's only half the weight, so we're good on that. And then we go into the goblet squats. Again, we're using posterior chain, so large muscle group, easy to move that weight. So the one movement out of all of this that goes back to back with a lot of reps on a smaller muscle group is, I'm gonna say, is the 20 push presses. So you got 40 of those coming. So pick a weight that's a challenge in the push press. And that way, with the amount of reps that you have for everything else you're doing, it's still gonna be a challenge, but it's not gonna be too much, okay? Make sure that you're locking out those arms during the overhead lunges, and use gravity to your advantage on this stuff, okay? So when I say use gravity towards your advantage in the downward motions, what I'm talking about is your presses, your squats, and your sit-ups. So if you have the weight up overhead during the presses, as we bring the weight down, let the weights come down. Don't fight the weight. Don't come down slow. Let the weights drop down and use that dip as your catch to cushion that, and then turn around and drive it right back up. Use the energy to drive rather than slow the dumbbells down. That's going to help you in the long run on this. For the squats, okay, don't go down nice and slow dropping in. Okay, that's not the kind of workout that we have here. We've got to do 50 of those goblet squats. So let gravity take its toll. As we're coming down, just drop down into the bottom and then drive back out. Okay, conserve the energy where you can. Allow gravity to help you come down in those movements. So bring those dumbbells down, let gravity do the work, and just cushion it with the drive or the dip. And with the squats, let gravity pull you down. And with the sit-ups, instead of fighting the motion and coming back down, let yourself fall back down. Just don't bounce. Don't slam yourself, but let gravity pull you down in the sit-ups. But those are the tips and tricks that I got for you on this workout. Have fun, sign into Wodify, check in with your coaches, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.